there are two great tragedies in life. One is to not get what you want, the other is to get what you want. And if I had gotten what I had wanted, it would have been a greater tragedy than my not getting what I wanted, because it allowed me to get something else.
Poliomyelitis, more commonly known as polio, was an atrocious disease that broke out in the 20th century and altered the lifestyle of citizens worldwide. Polio, also called infantile paralysis, was spread when infected feces entered the mouth. Most commonly, polio paralyzed its victims' legs. However, sometimes more extreme cases involve the victim being paralyzed from the neck down.
Due to the 1949 epidemic, which caused 2,720 deaths in the United States alone, parents all over the country were worried for their children's health. They started efforts to make a need for a vaccine aware to the public in order to protect their children from the deadly disease. At its peak in the 1950s, specifically 1952, the polio outbreak was worse than ever before. Of the 57,628 reported cases, 3,145 of those diagnosed died, and 21,269 were left with moderate paralysis.
Fortunately, Jonas Salk, who had worked on the influenza vaccine in the early 1940s, heard the cries of the worried parents. Salk was asked by the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis to work on the polio vaccine and was successful in doing so. The effects of the vaccine had a tremendous impact on health conditions worldwide. The vaccine was extremely preventive, with results concluding the vaccine was 80 to 90% effective. Not only did Salk create the vaccine, but he opened an institute and continued his research further. All of these factors lead to Salk being known as the most innovative scientist of his century.
For his success in curing the children of the country, and essentially the world, Salk was commended by President Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Following his discovery of a poliomyelitis vaccine.
Before I hand you this citation, I should like to say to you that when I think of the countless thousands of American parents and grandparents who are hereafter to be spared the agonizing fears of the annual epidemic of poliomyelitis, when I think of all the agony that these people will be spared as they see loved ones suffering in bed, I must say to you, I have no words in which adequately to express the thanks of myself, all the people I know, and all 164 million Americans, to say nothing.
As the vaccine made its way through the United States, it cured thousands of children. However, foreign countries such as China and India had also reported many cases of poliomyelitis, but had not received the vaccine yet and would not until about 20 years later.
When the vaccine finally reached the foreign countries, the success rate boomed. With the vaccine and the help of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the cases of polio in China and India dropped by over 99% after vaccinating over 80 million children.
When asked why he didn't patent the polio vaccine, Jonas Salk replied with one of the most famous quotes in history.
Who owns the patent on this vaccine?
Well, the people, I would say. There is no patent. Could you patent the sun?
Following his success with the polio vaccine, Jonas Salk opened his own institute, the Salk Institute for Biological Studies. The Salk Institute is an extremely well-renowned school and is ranked among many other leading biological institutes due to its contributions to the study of human health.
Jonas Salk, although famous for his polio vaccine, did not focus his career on just polio. AIDS, another deadly disease throughout the world, was another one of Salk's focuses during his lifetime. In the summer of 1990, Salk conducted trials for the vaccine, and the vaccine was met with positive results.
The human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV, by immunizing with a killed HIV virus in a fashion very similar to what was done with polio, but in this case in a post-infection setting, or as to be used as a treatment, as a potential treatment intervention, where the killed HIV or human immunodeficiency virus would be, or inactivated virus, would be combined with a potent so-called adjuvant, which boosts the immune response to a particular so-called antigen that one might be using in the form of what one might call a vaccine.
Salk, along with AIDS and polio, began research on cures for cancer, a globally feared disease. Even after Salk's death in 1995, his institute continued his legacy of exemplary research. Recently, exciting discoveries were made by the scientists at the Salk Institute.
It was discovered that the reason that Salk's vaccine was so successful in its trials is that the amount of T cells, a cell in our body that plays a key role in the immunity against diseases, either remained the same or increased slightly after the vaccine was injected into the patient's body.
A second discovery made was in regard to Salk and his researchers' work on cancer cures, specifically pancreatic cancer. Discovering information on a cure for pancreatic cancer proves to be extremely difficult, as pancreatic cancer is the cancer with the lowest survival rate.
In our body, two genes, LKB1 and DIXDC1, help to stop the spread of cancer in the body. LKB1 provides directions for DIXDC1 to follow, and the two work together to accomplish the task.
Another discovery was also made at the Salk Institute. Salk researchers discovered that vitamin D plays a key role in stopping the spread of cancer. Certain cells near a tumor, called stellate cells, can be inactivated by a chemically changed form of vitamin D. Once they are inactivated, the tumor is weakened and the spread is less deadly.
Tony Hunter, a senior professor and researcher at the Salk Institute, as well as the head professor in the lab in which the gene discovery was made, was awarded the Royal Medal in Biology for his exemplary work in providing information for cancer cures.
Dr. Jonas Edward Salk was an extraordinary man, and his findings have inspired the generations after his to succeed and become more than extraordinary.
Without him, the medicine and science industries of the world would not be where they are today.
He would not infrequently give the advice, do what makes your heart leap.